Okay, well, it is 1:30 and I am calling the February meeting of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Let's see. Okay, if we could do a roll call from the clerk, please.
Patricia Williams,
Present.
Jamie Rowe,
Present.
James Corcoran,
Present.
Ashley Williams,
Present.
Cecil Anderson, Terry Kerr, Terry Kerr,
Terry, you're muted.
Present.
David Harden,
Present.
Rebecca Longmire,
Present.
Bob Dykes,
Present. Present.
and Cecil Anderson is also present.
Yes.
All members present.
All righty. Okay. If Ms. Kerr, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
of the United States
and to the republic
and to the republic for which it stands,
under God,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's a lot more difficult to do with the lag.
yes.
Okay. This is the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals. Members are volunteers from each county commission district who do not receive compensation for their work on this board, ensuring they attend as a quasi-judicial body. We avoid ex parte conversations and conduct our business in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. I am your chairman, James Corcoran. Let's see, do we have a representative from the law director's office present? I don't know if they're.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Myers Morton is present with the Codes Office.
All righty. And if you could let us know who all is here from Knox County Government.
From Knox County Government, you got myself, Steve Elliott, the Director of Development Services. You got Tammy Harvey, Kim Jernigan, Kelly Vaughn, and Jim Snowden, our Senior Director, is also in the meeting.
All righty. Our voting procedure requires 5 positive votes for a motion to be approved, regardless of the number of the board members that are present. I think we have all our 9 members present today. First matter for the agenda would be the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Actually, does the law director have something to add to the minutes, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Myers Morton, Law Director's Office. I have the original order here signed by you in the matter of Woodbury Crossing Limited Partnership on Wise Springs Road that you signed on February 16th. A copy will be put in the minutes that you're reviewing to approve. I've emailed it to everyone 10-15 minutes ago. And it's my understanding at this point, the original will end up in the files of the Knox County Clerk's Office.
Okay.
That's
Has
it.
everyone had the opportunity to review the order? I will say that prior to signing it, I reviewed it and it appeared to be accurate. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes with the addition of that order?
I move to approve.
Motion.
So move.
I
And
think I heard
second
Ms.
them.
Kerr first, so second, Ms. Longmire. If we could do a roll call vote on the approval of the minutes, please.
Yes.
Patricia Williams, Patricia Williams,
Present.
Ms. Williams, we're voting to approve the minutes.
Present. Oh, approve. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Well, and honestly,
Jamie Rowe,
I haven't read that email. I didn't get it. I have a lag in email, but I guess approved.
I have not read it either. And with it regarding Wise Springs Road and the fiasco that I took a great part in, I'm concerned about what it might say. And of course, I missed the agenda review. My link was not working, so I don't know if it was discussed at that time or not, so.
Ms. Rowe, did you cast a vote or did you want to pass perhaps?
I don't quite know what to do since I haven't read it. Mr. Morton, can you advise me there?
Yeah, you can pass on voting. They just need a positive number. I emailed it recently and I also emailed it previously, but, yeah, you can pass and.
I didn't see it previously and I seem to have a lag in my email. It's not there yet.
Well,
I
the
passed.
plans, you will have these for future reference. These orders will come more promptly, so you'll have them weeks before the next meeting. This is a hiccup on our new procedure to require an order for every decision this board makes.
I passed them.
Jamie Rowe passes. Did Patricia Williams?
I would prefer to pass as well, although I did get that. I didn't see I didn't read the 10 o'clock, but I did read the previous email you sent regarding that. So I have some knowledge of what you're talking about, but I prefer to pass.
Okay, Patricia Williams and Jamie Rowe passes. James Corcoran?
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams?
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson? Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr?
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden? David Harden votes aye. Rebecca Longmire?
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes?
I'll pass since I wasn't part of the board.
Bob Dykes passes. That's 6 aye and 3 pass.
It may be the closest vote on the approval of the minutes that I've had since joining the board in 2016, but that passes. Okay. Let's see. All righty. The Knox, I guess before proceeding further, we are proceeding electronically today in accordance with the emergency executive orders that have been issued by Governor Bill Lee. I think based on prior advice, it's appropriate to make a finding that it's necessary for the health and safety of the community that we conduct this meeting electronically rather than in person. So does someone have a motion to make to so find?
I'll motion to so find.
So move.
I heard Ms. Kerr first again and Ms. Longmire second. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the motion is to find that it is necessary to conduct this meeting electronically due to the current pandemic. If we could have a roll call vote on that issue, please.
Tricia Williams?
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe?
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran?
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams?
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson? Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr?
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden?
Aye.
David Harden votes aye. Rebecca Longmire?
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes?
Aye.
Bob Dykes votes aye. All members present voting aye.
Okay, the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals is authorized to grant variances and hear other matters by the Tennessee Code and by the Knox County zoning ordinances. Specifically, these laws prescribe parameters required to grant a variance. The burden of proving the grounds for variance rests upon the applicant. For each matter, the clerk will read the request from the record. I'll then ask if the applicant is present, and then ask if there's any opposition or other speakers who wish to present. You do not have to come forward at that time, just signal affirmatively that you're here and with which side you're desiring to speak. Once we determine the speakers for the item, we will call on the governmental agencies such as Knox County Codes, Planning Commission, engineering, or similar entities to make statements regarding the facts that may be pertinent to the property and the background of the request. Board members may ask questions of the governmental agencies once they've made their statements. Then I will call on the applicant to come forward and state their name and address for the record and present their evidence and reasoning supporting the granting of variance. If there's no opposition, Applicants have 10 minutes to present their case. If there is opposition, both sides will have up to 15 minutes. After the applicant's presentation, board members may ask questions of the applicant. Then we will call for opposition or other parties who likewise would have 15 minutes to speak. The 15-minute applies to all parties. So if you get the sense that there are multiple parties that wish to speak, either for or against, please do your best to, obviously without us being in person, you can't really coordinate very well, but try to be cognizant of any other speakers and afford appropriate amount of time for other people to speak. After those opponents speak, board members may ask questions of the opponents. Finally, there'll be a discussion of the case by the board, during which commissioners may ask further questions of parties that have already testified. But again, it's important to make sure that you say all that you want to get out during your allotted time in the initial time limits. Then the board will make any determinations it deems necessary. Our bylaws do allow an applicant at an initial hearing on a matter to request a deferral of 30 or 60 days without prejudice, meaning if there's any reason that you decide that you don't want to go forward and this is your first setting, you can feel free to let us know at the start of your matter, and that can be done without further action. In the event of a deferral or application or failure to appear, any opponents may be heard on the record at this meeting where the application that they oppose, so they don't have to attend again if they desire. If the law director could address the swearing in of anyone intending to testify today.
To this board, will please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name, please. Do solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Law Director. And just accordingly, I think everyone was on mute, but if for some reason you were unable or unwilling to so affirm, please let us know prior to addressing the body. Let's see, do we have any agenda changes or corrections? I
think we were going to try to combine 4F and 4G. Was that correct? In Hayden Hill?
That sounds right. Yeah, items 4F and 4G are both applications by Joe Wallace. It looks like they appear to be very similar. Accordingly, I think we'll be addressing both those at the same time, but we'll initiating separate votes on each property in accordance with our rules. Okay, so any who's here for item 4F or 4G, once we get to 4F, if you can signal if you're here either in favor or against it.
17, right? Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
5A was changed from, they were requesting a reduction down to 11 feet from the 17 feet. So that would be a change.
Correct.
And also we have a correction to item 4D. There was a previous, on 4D, there was a previous variance granted from 35 to 26.4. So today they're requesting to go from 26.4 to 15 feet.
Okay. With those taken into account, any other modifications or changes to the agenda that anyone's aware of? I do see a Mr. Charles Leake has his hand up. Mr. Leake, did I pronounce your name right?
Yes. Oh, hi. We are on the agenda as 5A. It was a deferred from last month. And I was wondering if, since it was, I'm hoping it's kind of fresh on the board member's brain, if we could possibly be moved to the beginning. Just wondering. I'll take my hand down and let you answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any members have any of the board have any input on that request? Take the matter out of order.
I'm not sure. We've had that request before, so I don't know what the proper procedure would be. I've generally seen the deferments at the end of the current month's agenda review. I mean, the agenda. So anyone chime in?
Yeah, Since I've been doing this in 2016, we've always done the deferments at the end, and I think we might end up with sort of a Pandora's box if everyone asked to go first without some other special consideration. I think we'd end up with having to shuffle everything around every single meeting. Anyone have anything else they would like to add from the board?
I'll agree with your comment.
Same here.
Is there any special reason they need to go first? Other than just having it fresh on our minds?
No special reason, just curious. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll have, I don't think it will be as long as it was the last time, Ms. Lee, for you to wait.
I will say that the variances tend to go a little bit faster than the uses on review.
What you went through. Yes.
So
I understand her
that's the good
request.
news, but I think without some other special consideration, I think we're going to need to stick with the order that they were placed on the agenda. So sorry we couldn't do more, but then I'd probably have to explain to everyone else why we shuffled it around. Okay, so if we could move to item 4A, if that could be read into the record, please.
Request of J.C. Hedrick for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning and Appeals for waiver of the side yard setback from 8 feet to 7.4 feet. Property is located at 808 Embarcado Drive, CLT map number 118, Group EE, parcel 003. Property is zoned RA in the 3rd Commission District.
All righty, and that the applicant is Jesse Hedrick. Is Jesse Hedrick here? If you could let us know.
Hello. This is actually Charles Sherritt and Josh Maddox. We're the contractors on the job. We submitted a letter with him giving approval for us to be here on his behalf to apply for it.
Okay. Just thanks for letting us know here. Is there anyone who's here in opposition on item 4A? Okay, so once we get to you, we're gonna have 10 minutes. First, we're gonna hear from Knox County Code, sort of let them give us a quick rundown, and we'll get to you. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All righty, Codes. You want to walk us through this one?
Yes, the applicant is requesting a reduction of the side yard setback from 8 feet to 7.4 feet. Now, the property is zoned RA, and in the RA zone, there's a required 8-foot side yard setback. The addition, if you look at your map or I guess the site plan, the addition is only in the setback at the very rear. The lot's kind of pie shaped, so the rear of this structure is in the setback. The rest of it seems to be out of it. So I think it's pretty straightforward. That's all we would have.
Okay. All righty, if that's all Codes has for us, applicant, if you want to take yourself back off mute and get the video, and then if whoever's running the timer, if we want to go ahead and get that started, and you've got 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As it's mentioned, we are, my name is Chuck Sherritt, and this is Josh Maddox. We're here on behalf of Mr. Hedrick. It's just as they explained, the codes department, it's really just the back end that's going to be coming up close to that lot line for the setback requirements. It's literally, I think 6 or 8 inches, about 8 inches. So it's just a couple inches of a difference from what the setback requires. We don't think it'll affect anything being that close to the lot line, especially because it's just that back little corner of it. And you got anything there?
No, that's it.
So we would just request that the variance be granted. Thank you.
Okay. All righty. And I don't think we've not had anyone show up late online that's in opposition to this one. Okay. Then I'd open it up to the floor for the members for discussion. Any members of the board, if they want to signify a desire to address this one by raising their hand, either visually or electronically. And Ms. Kerr, if you can help me keep track of
I am watching.
raised hands. Ms. Longmire?
So if the reason for asking for the waiver is topography, would that be the reason we would put forth? the shape of the lot would be put to topography?
Ms. Momeyer, if you
Yes,
could clarify who you're asking the question of.
Yes, ma'am. I would think
Pardon?
lot shape would be hardship. Lot shape would be the hardship, I would think.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess the follow-up question I would have for codes, first of all, I do want to say I appreciate the fact that this is a very, very small request for a variance, and I always like seeing that, and that usually it means that someone's being very, very careful as far as what they're and limiting themselves, and that's one of the things we're supposed to be concerned about is whether or not it's the minimum amount of variance asked for. But obviously Knox County in general isn't on a grid system, so we don't have perfectly square pieces of property as a rule. I guess if we could, if codes or someone can let me know for the record what it is that's so unique about this particular piece of property that wouldn't be applicable on every other lot in Knox County.
I think I would defer that request to the owners or the contractor there to give you that hardship.
Yeah, and I think you're muted there.
Yeah, it's mostly due to the shape of the lot. I mean, if you look at the plat map, the lot goes like this, basically.
It's a pie-shaped lot. The existing home is within the setback. He's wanting to add 12 feet to the rear of the house, and it just encroaches on that setback by 8 inches because of the layout of the lot.
Yeah.
Could you let us know why 12 feet versus 11 feet as far as what's the purpose of the addition and why does it need to be on that
It's
side?
a bathroom. And so for basically codes and clearances inside the house to have enough room to move around inside that bathroom. And that's just kind of the minimum space we could work with.
Is there not another part of the house that could be built on instead?
I think the way the house is set up right now, this would be coming where the bedroom is right now, where the other side, if you tried to move it to the other side, the issue is I think that the garage in
the master bedroom and the whole way the house is laid out now is such that the master bedroom's on that end of the house. And this is a master suite addition. He's also extending part of the master bedroom and enlarging the front bedroom, which is, I believe, one of his children's bedrooms. So he's basically, that's just how his plan was drawn and how this bathroom would function. That's the space he needed. And when we staked it out, we noticed that we were very minimally approaching that setback line.
And this is a piece of property that I think was purchased in 2019. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, sir. I don't think he's been there very long.
Okay. Any members of the board have any discussion or any motions to make?
I make a motion that on the basis of the shape of the lot, the variance should be approved.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second.
Okay, I heard Mr. Williams first. Ms. Longmire, you might be lagging a little bit, so you're getting beat to the punch. Okay, we have a motion properly seconded.
Far away.
To approve the variance, and the reason that we would be putting forth in the motion would be the unusual shape of the lot. Is that, Ms. Rowe, if you want to nod if I'm summarizing that correctly? Okay. Any further discussion before we proceed to a vote from any of the members? I'm not seeing any hands up. Okay. If the clerk's office could take us through a roll call vote, please.
Patricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Nay.
James Corcoran votes no. Ashley Williams.
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson.
Aye.
Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
No.
David Harden votes no. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes.
No.
Bob Dykes votes no. That's 6 ayes and 3 noes.
Accordingly, based on a vote of 6-3, the variance is granted. So, and that will be moving the waiver of the setback to 7.4 feet, as in the application. Okay, your variance is granted. That
Thank you so
concludes
much.
the- All right, thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
You.
All righty. Proceeding on to 4B, if that item could be read into the record, please.
Request of Jupiter Homes LLC for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals for waiver of peripheral setback from 35 feet to 20 feet. Property located at 10700 Rock Arbor Way, CLT map 153, group EJ, parcel 001, property zone PR in the 5th Commission District.
And is the applicant present for item 4B? Not seeing or hearing anyone. Are we? Am I missing anything? Do we have anyone at all present on item 4B?
Not seeing names registered with B on the screen.
Yeah, Mr. Law Director, I don't know in the time I've been on this board, I've had anyone just no show.
Not show.
And given that this is an electronic meeting, do you have a suggestion as the appropriate way to handle this?
The people requesting a variance have the burden of proving, showing that the granting the variance will not be contrary to public interest, that the literal enforcement of the ordinance will result in unnecessary hardship, that granting the variance will not, the spirit of the ordinance will be observed, and that substantial justice will be done. If they're absent, I don't know how they're going to show that. Perhaps we try to find a phone number and call them while the board, maybe the board will consider putting this to the heels and allow codes an opportunity to see if we can reach out to them and see where they are.
I see the number for Miss McBride.
I do think it'd be appropriate if we have someone from codes that could make that attempt. Just, I think if we were in person, I'd feel a lot more comfortable just taking a vote on whether or not to dismiss the matter, but electronics being what they are, and I know some of the members had some difficulty logging into our pre-meeting today. So I think I'm just going to take the executive action and move this to the heels behind the deferred matter. And if we can get them on, or if codes can inform us at some point when we get towards the heels of our agenda, to let us know kind of where we're at on that. That'd be all right.
Yes, it's good with us.
Okay. Moving on to item E. If that item could be read into the record, please. The clerk's on mute, I think, if I don't know if you're talking.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Request of Bradford A. Raines, AIA, for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals for waiver to allow the accessory building to be located between the principal structure and the street. Property is located at 8908 Kelsey Lane, CLT map 155, parcel 06302. Property is zone ag in the 4th Commission District.
Okay. And do we have anyone who's present here on item 4C?
Yes, sir. This is Brad Rains.
Okay, and just hang on for a minute. Do we have anyone here in opposition to item 4C? That's the Kelsey Lane property. Okay. Hearing none, that'll be once we get to you, Mr. Rains, you'll have 10 minutes to talk, but we're going to start out with Knox County Codes, letting them give us the quick rundown, okay? Codes?
Yes, the applicant is requesting to place an accessory structure in front of the primary. The property is zoned ag, and per the zoning ordinance, no accessory structure shall be placed in the front yard of the primary structure. So the unique thing about this lot is that it is on Fort Loudon Lake. The home is built down up against the flowage easement of TVA. So there is no way they could put the accessory structure behind the primary. So the only place to construct it is in front of the primary.
Okay. Anything else you think we need to know?
I think that's it from our office.
All righty. Okay. Mr. Rains, if you want to go ahead and take yourself off mute, you've got 10 minutes.
Sure. So if you look at the site plan that we submitted with the application, and I'll start by saying I'm the architect representing the property owner, Denise and Clay Griffin. And they purchased this property, I think, in 2007, and the primary residence was already on site. It built sometime, I believe, in the mid to late 90s. And it's located where it is, in our view, because that was the most buildable portion of the site. And the hardship in our case, in addition to this flowage easement, is topography. There's 160 feet of fall from Kelsey Lane to the north down to Fort Loudon Lake at the south. And this is the flattest and straightest contours on the site. And so it made sense for the primary structure to be in that location. We've got kind of an odd shaped lot where we're pretty narrow up towards Kelsey Lane. It's about 60, 70 feet wide right there. And it does get wider in the middle, but there's a fairly large crown in the topography to the west. And there's a valley running down the east side of the site that you don't want to interrupt. It's got a pretty large catchment area for runoff that is happening from properties up above Kelsey Lane, higher up the hill. And so the consequence of having the existing house where it is, of course, is that we don't have much backyard, and the backyard that we do have is taken up by that TVA flowage easement, which goes all the way up to contour 822, and that's just a few feet behind that existing house. And so there's really no usable land down there. So because of those constraints, our view is that the literal application of the zoning ordinance would deprive the owners of the reasonable use of the rest of their property. While the upper portion of the site isn't suitable for a larger primary home, it is suitable for a smaller accessory structure like the one that we're proposing, which is a garage apartment. So what we're showing is on the flattest part of the site remaining, about 2/3 of the way up the slope is an area that's about 20% grade. The average on this site is 25, although it gets as high as about 40. And all of that's really steep, but 20% is certainly the most buildable portion of the site that's left in terms of slope. And you can see that there's an existing septic drain field that we're working around there as well. We don't see that there's going to be any harm done to the general public or the neighbors. This site is heavily wooded. The existing house and the proposed garage apartment we don't think would be visible much from existing properties or the right of way. We're horizontally about 140 feet from the right of way, and we're 60 feet below it. So we don't see any issues with view shed either from the right of way or for properties above Kelsey Lane. With that, all that said, I'm glad to answer any questions that the board has.
The property owners had any input from any of the surrounding property owners?
They talked to their neighbors and just showed them what we're proposing and invited them to speak up if they had any objections, and they didn't hear any directly. I don't know that anyone submitted anything to Knox County separately.
Okay. All right, and I think with that, unless you have anything more to add, we'll open it up to the board for questions or motions.
That's good.
Ms. Kerr?
I'm just going to say that I appreciate your very specific reasoning on this request. It kind of answered a lot of questions just reading what you wrote. So I'm just going to tell you thank you for that. I don't have any questions.
Let's see. And remind me which commission district we're in.
Ashley's, I believe.
We're in Commission District 4. Do we have a motion? Representative from District 4?
I am aware of Kelsey Lane. I'm not aware of this particular property because you really you can't see the structure from the main house from the road. I do have a question though. It is a single family dwelling, and there is septic. I assume you would be tying into the existing septic.
That's correct. The existing septic is approved, I believe, for 4 bedrooms, which is what the existing house is, and so we'd be expanding that existing field in order to accommodate this new structure.
And has an application been submitted for that?
Not as yet, no.
But there, I assume, will be?
Yes.
That's all for right now. Thank you.
Any further comments or any motions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so we can't find our raise hand feature on our.
That's okay. I think you're not alone in that.
I have a question for the applicant. Did the applicant say this is going to be a garage apartment? We were told just an accessory structure.
When I spoke with Kim Jernigan, we discussed it being a garage apartment.
Okay.
Would that be an issue with it being on 3 point?
It would not. There would be. It would not. Two single family dwellings are allowed, but we're not 100% sure if it's going to be a garage apartment. It'd be just a second single family dwelling if there's even a variance needed.
That's true. So do we need to even move to approve or not?
That's what I was looking up, and I don't see where it would need to. I'm reading the code. I apologize. Let me take off real quick.
Codes, do you have any input as far as if this is just is a variance needed, I guess is the question that's now being asked.
No, a variance is not needed. We apologize. It would not need a variance. If it's a garage apartment and submitted to us as a single family dwelling, it would not need a variance.
Okay.
I guess I then have a question for the applicant. I guess if this is going to be just a separate single family dwelling?
Well, it's going to be a garage apartment, which we understood to be an accessory structure in our initial conversation with codes. I apologize for our misunderstanding in that regard. You know, we had that listed on we had that term on our application. So that, you know, that is the intent. And if that's allowable by right, then, you know, I think that would negate the need for us to get any specific variance. Like we talked with Knox County codes about a potential height concern, but our understanding with what we're proposing there was that was also not going to be an issue. We know there's a limitation of 18 feet, that we were less than that on average. and that didn't look like it was going to be an issue based on our preliminary discussions with them.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Chairman, I'm sorry to re-interject here, but a garage apartment does have to be in the rear yard, so this would require a variance. I'm sorry, we're reading through the ordinance here as quickly as we can, and I'm sorry for the confusion, but yes, a garage apartment does say in the ordinance it has to be in the rear, so a variance would be required to put this in front of the primary.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Harden, I saw your hand go up and then go down. Is that, did that address that? You're muted.
Yes, it does address it. I was wondering if there's any restrictions in the community that would not allow, two-family dwellings, but now it's a garage apartment, so no comment.
Okay. Well, unless I see any motions from the board, I guess I'm going to make one myself. I'm just going to agree with Ms. Kerr in that first of all, it's always helpful to have an applicant who's got the assistance of an architect or other building professionals that can really provide this type of detailed information. Accordingly, based on the topographical issues that are not applicable generally in the county, I would make a motion to approve the variance as requested to allow the accessory building to be located between the principal structure and the street.
A second.
I have a motion seconded. Any further discussion prior to proceeding to a vote? Seeing no hands, if we could do a roll call vote, please.
Okay, this motion is to approve. Patricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams.
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson. Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
Aye.
David Harden votes aye. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. And Bob Dykes.
Aye.
Bob Dykes votes aye. All members present voting aye.
Accordingly, the request for variance is granted. And thank you for being so thorough. It's always refreshing.
Thank you, guys.
All right, appreciate it. All righty, now moving on to item 4D, if that matter could be read into the record by the clerk.
Request of Damon Falconer Design Company for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals for waiver of rear yard peripheral setback from, it was 35 feet, changed to 26.4 feet to 15 feet. Property located at 2121 Dana Lane, CLT map 106, Group AG, parcel 007. Property is on PR in the 3rd Commission District.
Okay. And I think I see the applicant, Mr. Falconer, if I'm pronouncing that right. You could just maybe take yourself off mute for a second and just let me know that you're still here and present.
Yes, I'm here and present.
All righty. Just hang on tight. Do we have any opposition present for item 4D? All righty. Hearing none, the applicant will have 10 minutes, but we're going to start with Knox County Codes if they could walk us through this one.
Yes, the applicant is requesting a reduction in the rear yard setback from 26.4 inches to 15 feet. There was a previous variance granted on this one from 35 feet to 26.4. So that's why the odd number. The property is on PR, and the ordinance section in your packet says there will be a minimum of not less than 35 feet rear yard setback from the peripheral boundary. So that's all my office has on that one. And I wanted to add that item 4B has joined us. So we did get in touch with them, and they are in the meeting now.
Okay. For B, was it?
Right.
Yeah, the one we moved to the end is now joined us.
Okay, okay. I'm just gonna leave that one at the end of the docket, just for those of us those who are already present with us. I think that's the most fair thing to do. So if they can stick with us, okay. And am I pronouncing it correctly, Falconer?
Falconer, yes.
All right. The floor is yours.
Okay, my name is Damon Falconer. I'm the architect for this homeowner. Homeowner's name is Pastor Sam Polson. They bought this property a number of years ago, and the existing building that was built on the back of it that the previous setback was for is being used as a pastor's study. And they just became going to become grandparents this year. And so they'd like to build a bonus room for the kids' toys and playground. She's going to be babysitting the kid during the day. And so they'd like to build a bonus room on the side. So that's the footprint you see before you, that's 17 by 21. This is, of course, a very steep pie-shaped lot, steeply angled pie-shaped lot that has, of course, a lot of the property up front that is not as usable as the property on the rear there. And so the adjacent property owner is it's an undeveloped lot, land, about 2 acres next door to it. And so the hardship is, again, the very steeply shaped, pie-shaped lot. And they would like to build a bonus room there for the grandchildren that are coming. And what's interesting fact today, in the Knox County, there's only 415 houses available in the entire Knox County with 6,000 realtors. And so they have looked to see if there's a possibility to move, and they have not been able to find a suitable replacement. That would be their hardship.
I'll second that hardship.
All righty. Do you know off the top of your head when the prior variance was granted?
You may have that.
Or if codes can beat you to it, if they know. Because my assumption would be, since a variance has been granted, that there's probably at least some iteration of this board who's determined that there's something unique about this piece of property, either topography or shape or the combination thereof. And at least in the spirit of being consistent, if we've made that determination once.
I can try to find that out real fast.
Okay. Well, while you're looking at that, oh, sorry, did code say something?
We're looking as well. We'll see if we can come up with it here.
Okay. Well, folks are looking for that. I see Miss Longmire's hands up.
2 things. One is I have found at the bottom toolbar, there is a reaction. And if you click on reactions, it's a way to raise your hand. The bottom toolbar, where it has the stop video participants, that reaction does have a way to raise your hand for those of us who don't. Is there a topographical map available for this lot?
Not that we don't have, the owner doesn't have one, no.
All right, here's what I got.
The lot starts at the road and slopes gently down to the rear corner.
Since we're going to base this on topography, I would like to see a topographical map, if possible.
It's not based on topography. The addition was built in 2004. It's based on the irregular lot.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Every time the screen gets shared, it moves everything else around on my screen, so it takes me a second to get reoriented. Ms. Kerr, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm understanding where you're wanting to put the addition. Is it the little dotted area? Is that the
Yes.
new addition? Is that where that's going to go?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I was going to ask, size, we always, obviously have to ask the, the minimum that you're looking for. Can you ask for anything less than what you're asking for? One. And two, can the building be a different size to help with that as well? I mean, I can see you have some challenges with the setbacks, of course. I can see that looking at the map, but is there anything you can do with that?
Okay, what we've done that I could share, I can possibly share this easily. Let's see if I can see what you're seeing. We have a bonus room, get where the camera can see it. We have a bonus room there. You can see the bonus room and the stairs down to the basement. So the bonus room, to make it as narrow as possible, the bonus room is 10'6". And then I've got a stair to be able to access that basement area underneath the addition that was done in 2004. So it's about as minimum as it can be.
Okay, thank you.
Is that visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Have you all communicated with the property owner that's on, I guess, behind the lot, as far as if they had a response to the proposal?
We have not. There, like I said, that's house is just way far away on the other side of the woods, and we have not.
I guess likewise, you've not heard any opposition either?
No, not at all.
Any other members have any questions or anything to chime in on, or any motions? No. Thing is, this is in my commission district, correct? In District 3, yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the variance as requested to a 15 feet setback based on the unusual circumstances being the unusual lot shape. And I think in part of my reasoning would be that since we've already granted a variance, there's probably already been a determination by this body that this unusual lot shape is a hardship. The architect seems to have indicated that they've done what they could to minimize the impact of this particular addition to the neighborhood so that the request is the minimum necessary to be able to achieve their goal. And for those reasons, I would move that we approve the variance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion properly seconded. Do we have any further discussion prior to proceeding to a roll call vote? Seeing none, if we could go ahead and do a roll call vote, Madam Clerk. And you're muted.
Patricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams.
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson. Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
No.
David Harden votes no. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes?
No.
Bob Dykes votes no. That's 7 aye and 2 no.
Okay.
It passes.
Accordingly, the variance is granted as requested to the 15 feet mark.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Thank you.
please. It's Myers Morton.
Yes,
I'm trying to, who seconded this, please?
I believe it's
Patricia,
Ms. Williams.
Thank you, thank you. That's it.
All right, that concludes that matter. And if we could proceed on to item 4E.
request
correct.
of Damian Falconer Design Company for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning and Appeals for waiver of rear yard peripheral setback from 28 feet to 15 feet. Previous variance granted from 35 feet to 28 feet. Property is located at 8139 Timberstone Lane, CLT map 046, Group MG, parcel 014, property zone PR in the 7th Commission District.
All righty. So, Mr. Falconer again. Do we have any opposition for item 4E? Seeing none, this will be another one with a 10-minute time limit. And if Knox County Codes could go ahead and start us off, please.
Yes, again, the applicant is requesting a reduction of the rear yard setback from 28 feet to 15 feet. The property is zone PR, and as required by the PR zone, that there is a rear peripheral on this property that was previously reduced from 28 feet to, or from 35 feet to 28 feet. Now the request is to reduce it to 15 feet. That's all my office would have for this one.
Okay. All righty. And Mr. Falconer again.
I'm here. This particular piece of property, our hardship is strictly due to the topography, and we do have a topography information. I'm not sure if that was submitted or not, but I do have that I can put up on the screen very easily. This lot slopes from the let me get around the street here. Street's down below. Slopes very steeply from the street. The street's down here on this. Let me use my pen. The street's down here and sloped up very steeply across the property. So the hardship is due to the topography of the site. We have put together drawings. Oh, there we go. Thank you. We put together drawings that we've submitted. We've given a site plan. We've also given a floor plan and the elevations for the project. We have submitted them to the HOA, and the vice president of the HOA lives next door. I have submitted to the board the HOA ruling on the project. They're in full agreement, and I've also submitted the neighbor next door, who's the vice president, is in full agreement with this variance due to the topography of the site.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
All right. How much, what's the total change in elevation on this piece of property from front to back or side to side, whichever way it goes?
Around 30 feet from the street to the back of the property. From the street to where the site of the building built is around 20 feet.
And Codes, would you all agree that there's a significant topographical issue on this piece of property?
Yes, we absolutely agree.
All righty. I would open up to Mr. Harden. I see your hand is up.
I drove by there a few days ago, and I couldn't even see the building site from the road.
Right.
So it's definitely steep. I didn't want to walk up there on somebody's property, so I didn't, but it is very steep.
Okay. Let's see. Any other hands up? I don't see any. Mr. Harden, this is in your
Mr.
district. Do you have a?
Mr. Corcoran, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Rowe. I didn't see you.
That's okay. It's hard too with the pictures like they are. This is more or less a housekeeping area question. And then I have one comment to make. On page 3 of our packet, the one that's signed by the property owners, it says from 25 feet to 15. So which is it? Is it from 28 feet or from 25 feet?
It's 28. That's a misprint. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. And the second thing I was going to say, usually I vote no on these, but when we've got this section 51306 to refer to, it actually allows, because of planned residential and several other zones, if they adjoin it, to reduce the setback to not less than 15. So
Correct.
I just wanted to point that out.
Correct. Thank you.
Ms. Longmire?
I would like to acknowledge the neighborhood association and the neighbors for writing approval of this. So that makes it a lot easier to know the neighbors approve.
Yes. Thank you.
I agree. Did I see Code's hand up a second ago? Did I?
Yes, I wanted to say that reduction in that setback, the peripheral, is a common request that does get granted at MPC now. I think probably when this subdivision was developed, it wasn't a request. Nowadays it is. It is pretty common that this type reduction is granted at the Planning Commission.
Mr. Harden?
Just make the motion to approve the setback change because of 5.13.06 regulation we have in our pamphlet.
Make a second.
Okay, we have a motion properly seconded. Given the instruction we've had from our law director's office, I'd like to make a friendly amendment to that motion to include the addition of the topographical issues as a finding for why we would be approving this. Would you all consider that to be a friendly amendment?
Yes.
Okay, so to I guess restate for the benefits of our law director who's trying to put together orders now, we would be moving to approve the requested variance to a 15-foot setback based on the topographical issues, which are not commonly found in this area, in addition to the regulation found in 51306, the periphery boundary issues that does occasionally permit Planning Commission to remove the setback to 15 feet.
Exactly.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion before proceeding to a roll call vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Okay, I had a motion by David Harden. I did not get the second. Who was seconded?
Mr. Williams, I believe.
Ashley Williams.
Thank you. Okay. Patricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams.
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson. Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
Aye.
David Harden votes aye. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes.
Aye.
Bob Dykes votes aye. All members present voting aye.
Accordingly, the variance is granted.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, and that brings us to items 4F and 4G, which I think we discussed would be appropriate to hear the proof on the matters together, and then we will vote separately on them after hearing proof. The applicant is Joe Wallace. Is Mr. Wallace present?
I am.
All righty, hang on tight, Mr. Wallace. Do we have any opposition to either item 4F or 4G? Hearing none, we should be able to handle that in a 10-minute matter, although we can be a little bit flexible with it since that is 2 matters on the agenda. Knox County Codes, if you want to walk us through this really quick.
I need to read it into the record.
Oh, sorry. Stepped on everyone's toes there. Please, Madam Clerk, please read it in the record.
Item 4F is request of Joe Wallace for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals for waiver of the front yard setback from 20 feet to 15 feet. Property is located at 10801 Glory Maple Lane, CLT map 103, group FF, parcel 008. Property is zoned PRTO in the 6th Commission District. And 4G is request of Joe Wallace for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning and Appeals for waiver of the front yard setback from 20 feet to 15 feet. Property located at 10807 Glory Maple Lane, CLT map 103, group FF, parcel 007. Property is zone PR/TO in the 6th Commission District.
Thank you. All righty, and now codes.
Yes, the applicant is again requesting a front yard setback from 20 feet to 15 feet due to topographical issues. The PR zone requires 20 foot front yard setback. And I think the map shows, if you look, there is a pretty significant elevation change on the lot. So I think with that, that's all the codes office would have to add on this one.
Okay. But would codes agree that it's a significant topographical issue that's not commonly found in the area?
Yes, we absolutely agree.
Okay. All righty. And then if we could hear from the applicant, please, Mr. Wallace.
Yeah, of course. So this is a lot in our third phase of this community. This is the last phase of the community. We are purchasing these lots from Safe Harbor Development. This lot and the lot next to it, one is a basement and one is a slab foundation. Both of them have roughly a 2-to-1 slope off the back of the property. And for the slab foundation, which I apologize, the addresses are I'm drawing a blank on those, but the back left corner hangs off onto that 2-to-1 slope. And then on the basement foundation, the same thing, it sits right at the top of that slope. Pretty significant deck. So we're trying to keep those as close to the front as we can, just to give our homeowners a better backyard experience.
All right, Ms. Kerr, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I'll just ask Mr. Wallace. I'm assuming lot 8 was the slab lot. Is that correct? Lot 7, your basement, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know the floor plans you're putting on the lots. I can definitely see the topography on both. I just wasn't sure. I'm kind of looking at your dimensions, on the front, how it would be a lot difficult probably to have your plan smaller. I guess that's my question. Can you do anything with the plan on lot 8 to be able to not ask for as much? Do you already have a plan in place?
Excuse me, we've restricted both these lots to the shallowest floor plan we have.
Okay.
Which is basically a 50 by 52 foot house, 50 feet wide, 50 feet deep.
Okay. There is definitely topography. I was afraid to actually walk too far back on 7. I was afraid I might fall off. So nice lots, but definitely topography issues.
They are beautiful. It's a beautiful site. It's tough, yeah.
Beautiful views, there are.
Sorry,
anyone else has any questions? I was just going to see if any other members had any questions in reference to this. I'll make a motion.
I was going to ask Mr. Wallace 1 or 2 questions. How would you compare the size of the homes that you're building here to the other lots in the neighborhood?
We're relatively similar. These are the same floor plans that we've had in the community. but they're relatively similar. We have one floor plan that is significantly deeper that we have basically eliminated from that lineup. It was a 72-foot deep house, and we pretty much eliminated that.
So the floor plans you've picked are, you know, an attempt to be in harmony with, I guess, the other homes in the neighborhood.
Correct. Yeah, they match all the other floor plans in the community.
Those are the only questions I have. Ms. Kerr, you're up. Well, Mr. Dykes.
Just wondering if it's feasible to stay within the 20-foot setback. It's clear that you would have to have a deeper cut and push it back onto the grade, but is that not feasible?
Say that again. What do you mean by a deeper cut?
Well, looking at the cross section here for lot 329 and 328, it shows the 15-foot setback, and then it shows the basement, and then it shows the downgrade. I was just wondering, is it not feasible, instead of being 15 feet, less than that, being, you know, more closely to the 20-foot?
I see what you're saying. Pulling the front of our basement closer in. Is that what you're asking?
Further from the street.
Oh, further from the street.
Well, it's 20 feet, it's supposed to be 20 feet. Now you're proposing 15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
If you shift, and the cross section that I'm looking at shows the basement at a lower elevation than the street.
Mm-hmm.
If you just push that back to the 20 feet or something closer to 20 feet, is it possible to still put your floor plan there, but you would have to cut deeper for the basement?
The issue is the rear of the lot. We could do it, but our basements are roughly a 12-foot tall total with the floor system, and so the rear of that home would hang off of the back slope, and so we would have a 12-foot basement, and then you would also have roughly a 5 to 6 foot stem wall to get down to grade, which would be it's a significant trouble to get. And we would have a pretty tall deck, and it's just someone's concern there on the backside.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Kerr, I see your hand is up again.
If I was going to make a motion, if no one else had any questions.
I don't see any, so go ahead.
Okay, I move that agenda item 4F, excuse me, as requested, waiver of front yard setback from 20 feet to 15 feet be approved due to the topography of the lot.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Kerr, seconded by Mr. Harden. Do we have any further discussion before proceeding to a vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if we can proceed to a roll call vote, please.
Patricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams.
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson. Aye. Cecil
Yes.
Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
Aye.
David Harden votes aye. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes.
Aye.
Bob Dykes votes aye. All members present voting aye.
Accordingly, the variance is granted as requested. And then proceeding to item 4G. Ms. Kerr, do you have a similar motion?
I do, yes. I move that agenda item 4G be approved as requested, waiver of front yard setback from 20 feet to 15 feet due to the topography of the lot.
Second again.
Similar motion, seconded by Mr. Harden. Assuming no further discussion, seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Tricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams.
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson.
Aye.
Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
Aye.
David Harden votes aye. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes.
Aye.
Bob Dykes votes aye. All members present voting aye.
Accordingly, the variance is granted, waiving the front yard setback to 15 feet on item 4G as well. Thank you for coming.
Thank you all again. Take care.
All right, appreciate it. Okay, that brings us to item 5A.
This is a deferred request, 5A, request of Charles and Tabitha Leak for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals for waiver of the front yard setback from 35 feet to 17 feet. Property is located 7330 Fairview Road, CLT map 021, parcel 01302. Property is zone RA in the 8th Commission District, and it is changed from 35 feet to 11 feet instead of 17.
Okay. And let's see, are the applicants still present? All righty. Good to see you all. Now, do we have any opposition present for item 5A? Seeing none, we're going to start again with Knox County codes. Codes, if you want to remind everyone, sort of give us a quick rundown, especially since we've also got a new board member here today on item 5A, please.
Yes, item 5A, the zoning for the property is RA, and there's a required front yard setback of 35 feet. The applicant or the property was granted a previous variance from 35 to 26 in 1999. They are now requesting to go from 26 feet to 11 feet. At the last meeting, there was concern about sight distance, being able to see around the vertical curve there. So we did go out and measure sight distance, myself and one of our traffic engineering staff. We placed a cone and followed procedure for checking the sight distance, and we believe it to be adequate for what would be required on a road with that speed.
All righty. And in looking at the drawing of the site, would codes also say that this is an unusually shaped lot?
Yes, I would agree. It is unusually shaped. It also has a detached garage built on the back that would make it difficult to construct an addition off the back of the house. So really the only place for the addition would be on this end of the house.
Okay. Any other issues that the board needs to be aware
of? None from my office.
Okay. All righty. And now for the applicants. Now, obviously, I'm sure those of us who were here last time remember you all, but we do have one new board member, and that one member has left the board and been replaced. So if you want to give to the best you can, a quick rundown of kind of what you all believe are what's the reasons for the request for variance, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, so this is Charles. I'm Tabitha Leak. We currently have the home. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. We have 3 kids. The 2 older boys are sharing a room, normal things, fighting a lot. We would like to get them separated. So the new room is going to be a master room in hopes to get them their own separate rooms. This was the place where we assumed we could build on, like building code said. It would be very difficult to go to the back without hitting on the property line. Obviously can't go to the front. If you look down a few slides, if I'm looking at what Kim sent, you can kind of see where I did on KGIS my own drawings. I want you to just overlook that and just look at the shape of the U driveway where our mailboxes are. That neighbor that is next to me, we have a deed with both of these lots that they can enter and exit on my side and I can enter and exit on their side. So we initially spoke with them just to say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Would you care? Do you think it would be any concerns to you pulling in and out of that side? They said they didn't have any concerns and everything was good on their part. Not pictured on here, up from the back side of the garage, is another neighbor. We spoke with him, and it was very interesting to speak with him because his brother was the one that initially built the home, and he didn't display any concerns. I think I mentioned it last month. Across the street, you can see there are two driveways. The driveway to the right, when the people that own the house before us, they took the fence out. You can see some of the fences taken out. They took the fence, that he built the fence out in a complete square to the house. Well, that neighbor came and talked to him and told him that he really couldn't see over the fence without and pull in his driveway safely. So he initially came over, spoke with us. We kind of went over the plans with him. We also spoke with him and decided that we would take that corner part of the fence that you can see in the kind of aerial view. We're going to take it back and bring that out flush with the new construction. I don't know if building codes seen, but we've initially taken that part back to where they could get a more accurate sight distance. They were great and willing to work with us till we could get that part of the fence down. So they could get an accurate sight distance. And so in speaking to that neighbor and willing to make those changes, they didn't seem like it would be a major problem. They did their own kind of testing. He has a big, I guess, RV or camper that he pulls. And so they wanted to pull up there and then just make sure that they had accurate time to be able to pull into their driveway without causing any accidents. They did that of their own and seemed to think that everything was okay, said they wouldn't oppose it, and pretty much gave us the go-ahead to do it. So we spoke with all the neighbors, and then, of course, with the sight distance being okay, we would just ask that the variance be considered and granted. Thank you.
I've muted myself. Ms. Longmire, is your hand up?
Yes, it is. First, I would like to congratulate the applicants on checking with the neighbors and bringing that information to us. They seemed like they went beyond trying to make sure this was safe. One question for the applicants: is there any way to convert that garage into a bedroom?
We don't believe so. It is detached. So if we converted that to a bedroom, the way the roofs line up, I don't know that a roof could be made to conjoin those. And if it was converted into a bedroom as it sits, we would be separate from all three of the children. And other concerns, if we was to—
Not a bad idea.
I completely agree. If you don't remember me from last month, my kids were screaming in the background. But if we put one of the kids, if we were able to convert it to a bed, to a room and put one of the kids in there, that would be a safety concern for us as parents on sneaking out, things of that nature.
Another question: I am not concerned too much about the sight distance on the road. Are you concerned about a car? And I appreciate codes speaking of the speed limit that is there, but considering the speed limit that most cars drive through there, are you concerned about maybe them hitting this addiction right there in the curve?
We are not at the time. Also, in speaking with the neighbors, that was kind of brought up. If you're looking at the picture, if you're coming down the road, passing our house and then headed to the right towards the Tassel Pike entrance, There have been accidents there that end up in the neighbor's yard. But in speaking with both the neighbor next to us and the neighbor across from us, there has never, knock on wood, been any accidents in our particular yard. They do tend to speed around that corner. I know the neighbor across from us is friends with,
Richie.
I don't know if you're familiar, Richie Beeler, and we're working on possibly trying to maybe get a
Oh,
few
yes.
in that area. I don't know how that works and how far out that would be. But we are hoping to get that speed maybe taken care of. But in answer
I know
to,
traffic has increased through there. It has increased.
yes,
Thank you.
it increased quite a bit when it was a 4-way stop sign. Since they put the red lights up, it's kind of stayed steady because the red lights are a little faster than the 4-way. But yes, there is traffic.
Thank you.
Mr. Harden?
I would agree with Ms. Longmire. I'm concerned about the safety of the house and of the children being that close to the road. That's my biggest concern right now.
I will say the kids do not play on that side. I don't know if you can look at the topography and the way the lot is shaped. We have a deep the back part of it that looks like it has a small square. That's a small building in the back. That's where we have the kids' trampoline, things of that nature. The driveway is also, you'll see in one of the pictures, on that side of the garage. So they are behind the house and behind the garage, and that's the general place where they hang out. Very rarely you'll see the driveway as it curves. There's a little greenway that way. They very rarely run into that yard as well because of the concerns. As a mother, I don't allow them to play in that area. That driveway and area was actually built because to offset the mailboxes from the road, from my understanding from my neighbor. We weren't there at that time. But yes, they play back there in that backyard. That's where their trampoline, the basketball goal is at the driveway. And the way our personal driveway is shaped, not the driveway that we share with the neighbors, they've got accurate space to be able to ride bikes, scooters, things of that nature.
I'd like to clarify a bit of your testimony. You said that there had been accidents in that area. Was it on your side of the street or was it on the other side of the street?
The most recent was on the other side. The people across the road from us, they came down the road, didn't see the curve, and just kept going straight. Both of those that have happened in the past 5 months, the driver was inebriated.
When those accidents happened, about how far off the road did you say those vehicles went, or do you know?
I'm not sure. I know last month we had kind of went out and done our own measurements, and that's where we got the setback from 35 to 17. So I'm going to say that my human measurements aren't very accurate. But so I'm sorry, I can't answer that question.
Not too far.
One of the things we need to consider is, safety, not of just you and your family, but of, other people who are driving. And, just because those folks were drunk that's the risk, and that someone could be drunk and drive off the other side of the road. And that's one of those things I think as a board, we have to consider. Ms. Kerr, I see that your hand is up.
I'm kind of going in that same direction with the question. So if in 11 feet, that's 11 feet from, I'm looking at the map. So I see the one was 17. So now the 17's gone to 11. So it's obviously closer to the lot line to the road. My question is, so, if the board did approve this, what, if anything, would that do to the board or whoever, may not, if someone did have an accident and they said, well, hey, if this had not been approved, this, would not have happened and it's your fault. You shouldn't have approved that. Is that something that would come or not come, or do you understand my question?
Is that a question for the applicant or for the law department?
I guess for the law department, I suppose, not the applicant. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Knox County generally has sovereign immunity. You can't sue the king unless the permission is given for something. And so I'm not aware of any, as I sit here, it's the first question I've been asked like this, but I think Knox County would be immune from any lawsuit if this, for allowing this variance. And also, another layer of immunity is a discretionary function in making decisions. The law gives leeway to decision makers if they make in their decision making process. So I believe that Knox County would be immune from lawsuit for allowing this variance.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one follow-up question to that. Would that include the volunteer members of this board?
This board is part of is immune as well. They make it the discretionary function, decision making is immune. Generally, you understand the basic premise is you can't sue the king unless the king gives you permission to. And there's several statutes in the Tennessee Governmental Tort Liability Act that waive that immunity, where the legislature or the king has said you can sue the king or the state. And there's several different ones, but I'm not aware of any waiver of immunity to this board or to Knox County, which is synonymous in my mind for if you were to get to grant a variance, that you'd be liable for anybody in the house or any cars that ran into the house for allowing this variance. And that's the law director's advice.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, could I interject too? I wanted to add a couple of I think items that are of importance.
Okay.
Our office wouldn't be concerned as much about this structure on the inside of the curb versus on the outside, because I think as the applicant stated, most people are going to drive straight through the curb and go through off the outside versus coming on the inside. I would also note that the right of way is pretty large through here, so the structure is still actually going to be 31 feet off the edge of pavement. So there's like 20 feet of right of way there, and then 11 feet from the setback from the right of way line. So there is a large amount of right of way in the through there for some reason. Is that correct? I guess that'd be a question for the applicant to make sure I said that correctly. It looks like you put 31 feet from the edge of pavement to the corner of your structure. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
I see that applicant has their hands up. You're muted.
So on the question of where the corner of the house is, when you coming through around that curve, there's 3 dogwood trees and a telephone pole. So for them, anybody coming around there to, I guess, accidentally run off the road and come into the structure that we would build, there's a lot they would have to hit, and those trees are pretty sturdy. Like I said, that telephone pole and that ditch right there in that corner or in that curve is pretty deep. Like, I mean, it's pretty deep enough to really stop their vehicle pretty quick. So that's another addition to not getting a car run off the road, because there's a lot they'd have to hit to come through the yard and hit that structure once it's built. Yeah.
And then to second codes. Yes, so on the site plan that we had drawn up, I wanted to make sure in that site plan that they cited the distance from the new structure to the road and the new structure to the property line. from the new structure to the property line is the 11.41, if I'm reading correctly. I'm sorry, I got it small on my screen. And then from the new property to the road is a little over 31 feet.
Ms. Longmire?
Well, I feel better now about them not getting run over since there will be 31 feet. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the waiver of the front yard setback from 35 feet to 11 feet because of the lot, the unusual shape of the lot.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion seconded by Ms. Kerr. Do we have any codes? Is your hand still up or is it just up from before?
I'm sorry, we didn't take it down.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kerr?
Yeah, and then one question, was it 11 feet or 11 feet 4 inches? I think we had 11.4 in one of our chats. I don't remember which, so I wanted to clarify. Is it down to 11 feet or 11 feet 4 inches? Ms. Leek, do you know what you would be asking for on that? 11 feet or 11 feet 4 inches?
Oh, are you referring to it looked like 11.41 on the?
Yeah.
Yes, looks like it's 11.41. I just asked them when they drew up the site plan to be as accurate as possible.
Okay.
So I'd like to amend my motion to 11.41.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. We have motion properly seconded to approve the variance as requested. Well, as amended to 11 to a setback of 11 foot, 11.41 feet. That's kind of awkward. Based on the unusual shape of the lot. Do we have any further discussion prior to proceeding to a vote? Ms. Kerr, your hand is still up from before.
Yep.
Okay, and if we could proceed to a roll call vote, please.
Patricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Nay.
James Corcoran votes no. Ashley Williams.
Nay.
Ashley Williams votes no. Cecil Anderson. Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
Nay.
David Harden votes no. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. And Bob Dykes.
No.
Bob Dykes votes no. 5 ayes, 4 noes.
Accordingly, the variance is granted. All right, that concludes that matter. You've got your variance.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody.
All right, thank you. Okay, now I believe that brings us back to is it item 4B.
4B, yes.
All righty. If if 4B could be read in the record, please.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Madam Clerk, have we read 4B in the record? You may be muted.
Request of Jupiter Homes, LLC, for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals for waiver of peripheral setback from 35 feet to 20 feet Property is located at 10700 Rock Arbor Way, CLT map 153, Group EJ, parcel 001. Property is zone PR in the 5th Commission District. And excuse me, I had a customer come in.
That's okay. Okay, and on behalf of the applicant, who do we have?
I'm Hunter Insdale, co-owner of Jupiter Homes.
Okay. Could you have, we have your address for the record, please?
7037B Oak Ridge Highway.
Okay. Do we have any opposition here to item 4B? Okay. Seeing none, now I know you might have not been here when we explained the rules. Since there's no opposition, you'll get 10 minutes. We're going to start with an explanation, a quick rundown of your case from Knox County codes, and then once they're done, we'll get you back on. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, codes, if you want to walk us through this one.
Yes, the applicant is requesting. Oh, I'm sorry. The law director is saying this. The applicant needs to be sworn in before he gives testimony.
Okay. We'll do that. How about you give yours, and then we'll patch that up once we get to him.
Okay, thank you. The applicant is requesting a waiver of the peripheral setback from 35 feet to 20 feet. If you look at the site plan, the applicant has really all front yard and a side yard. So he has to meet a front yard setback on every corner of the house. The porch area is already in the setback. As allowed by the zoning ordinance, an unenclosed porch can encroach into the peripheral setback. So what the applicant needs is a waiver to allow him to enclose that front porch that is already into the peripheral. I think that's all my office would have to add on that one.
Okay. All righty. And now, Mr. Insel, I think the law director is going to swear you in before we go. Okay.
Okay.
Sir, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
All righty. And now you've got 10 minutes. If you just want to sort of explain and to the extent it wasn't covered by codes, kind of what's going on here and why you believe that you're entitled to a variance.
He actually referred it to as the front porch of the property. It's actually the back. I've submitted the pictures to the permanent office or whatnot, which is why I'm here, obviously. It's a covered back patio roof. It's already got electricity out there. All we're doing is simply enclosing what's there. The footprint of the structure really won't change. So that's why we're here. It was my understanding that and I believe the gentleman said that a while ago, the back patio actually comes out further than what's allowed, but it's not livable space because it's not enclosed. That's why we're here trying to get this solidified. That's all I have to say.
All righty. Codes, is your hand up again?
It is. I wanted to clarify that is the back of the house, but it's still considered a front because Westland Drive is along the back of the house. So the house actually has, if you look at the map, it's got Westland Drive as a front, and then the entrance to the subdivision has a front all the way around the entire radius of the front of the house. So I just wanted to clarify that was a front, even though it is the back of the house.
I do have this question for codes. Is there any concern that by enclosing this, I mean, it's already got a roof over it, but is this going to interfere with anyone's ability to see anything at all driving around that, I guess that sort of horseshoe around it in any way, shape, or form?
No, we have no concerns with that. It's already existing. And, you can see there's a large right of way along Westland. So we have zero concern with that.
Would it also be safe to say that it's unusual that a house essentially has 3 front yards?
It looks, yeah.
It sure is unusual. And I will tell you, we're reviewing the PR zone now, and we're looking to make a change to these where this is considered a front, although there's no access. So we are currently in discussion with planning on how we can fix these to where maybe we're not bringing so many variances before you guys when that's, there's no access there, that it is considered a front by the zoning ordinance.
Thank you. Any discussion from any members of the board?
Mr. Corcoran.
Ms. Rowe?
As I said before, I usually vote against these kind of things, but because that section is cited of 51306 and the Planning Commission can give that at the beginning when a house is built down to 15 feet, then I see no problem with it.
Any further discussion or any motions to be made? I do note that this is in the 5th Commission District.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion at this time to approve the waiver to have this enclosed and to approve his waiver at this time.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second.
I heard Miss Williams first. So motion by Mr. Anderson.
That's fine.
Second by Miss Williams. I'd like to propose what I would believe would be a friendly amendment, again, in line with the advice we're getting from the Law Director's Office, that we make a finding that it is based on the unusual circumstance of a home having 3 front yards, which is not a circumstance that generally applies to most lots, which I guess we could, that it's an unusual lot circumstance. If Mr. Anderson and Ms. Williams, would you consider that to be a friendly amendment?
I agree.
I agree.
Okay. So to restate the motion, the Law Director, the motion is to find that the lot is unusual and that it has 3 front yards, and accordingly we are voting to approve the variance of the front setback from 35 feet to 20 feet. Okay, so a vote of aye would be a vote in favor of granting that variance. Any further discussion before we proceed to a vote? We could do a roll call vote. Madam Clerk.
Patricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams.
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson.
Aye.
Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
Aye.
David Harden votes aye. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes.
Aye.
Bob Dykes votes aye. All members present voting aye.
Accordingly, the variance is granted.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now that would move on for items for discussion 6A, which was a cutoff date for documents to be added to the agenda. I think we talk about doing maybe a rule change. Mr. Law Director, do we have some sort of legal form or rule, or?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
About the, it's about the cutoff date for receiving material for the meetings.
Yes, yes, let me get my notes in front of me. I'm sorry, Mr. Law Director, Mr. Chairman. I wrote it down. I've got all my notes. Hang on just a second, if you don't mind, sir.
Certainly.
I'm trying to, hang on, let me get my notes pulled up, sir. Actually, it's Tennessee Code annotated, requires, okay, let me start over. Thank you. Last week, this board voted to amend your bylaws to cut off the date, cut off the time for people to submit information and evidence and facts to 5 days. However, unbeknownst to me, and I've since learned, Tennessee law requires the board to post everything, post it for the public 7 days prior to the meeting. So, and because the vote per last meeting to change it to 5 days violates Tennessee law, it's not enforceable. So and I apologize for putting you here, but my suggestion is you discuss and consider and change your bylaws to cut off the people filing things so you will be able to post it to 7 days instead of 5 days.
Just so we're all following, is that 7 calendar days, 7 business days?
It's calendar days.
As a general rule, it'd be pretty similar to 5 business days, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the statute just says 7 days.
Okay.
It's not, Mr. Chairman, let me find that law. I had it in my notes and give me just a minute if you please, sir. I'm sorry.
Sure, absolutely. It's important we get this right.
While he's looking for that, would that be Wednesday to Wednesday then? Like the Wednesday before the meeting? Is that what that would be? I'm just wondering. But we don't always meet on Wednesdays, so we can't count on that. Okay.
Pardon me.
We got papers spread out everywhere. We're going.
I've been there.
I promise you I won't forget this again. I'll say that. Okay, I found it, Mr. Chairman. I apologize. Knox County zoning ordinance 6.60.05 dealing with cases before the board requires that all data be posted in support of applications or appeals or anything must be posted for a period of not less than 1 week prior to the hearing. So 1 week is 7 days. 1 week, well, 1 week could be, if our meetings are on Wednesday, it'd be the prior Wednesday.
By noon.
Not to split hairs or anything, but since we phrased it in terms of 5 business days, is there ever a circumstance where 5 business days is going to be less than a calendar week ahead of time?
If you're counting days, if there's a holiday, and the 5th day.
Wouldn't that be even longer? Or I guess I'm trying to follow. Are we running afoul of it because we're putting too much time or too little time?
If different, we're saying days, the ordinance says 1 week. Maybe the board will consider amending the bylaws to say 1 week instead of 5 business days. And you're right, Mr. Chairman, I may be splitting hairs. And you
sometimes those hairs are important. I get it. I was trying to figure out if there was a circumstance where 5 business days wouldn't cover a full week, but I also understand that sometimes it's just easier to have the language mirror it.
I think that I think you're correct, Mr. Chairman. 5 business days is a week. I think you are correct. And what I'll do is
holiday, we'd have to do it on Tuesday.
And I don't know any holidays on Wednesday anyway, are they? I mean, maybe if it's Thanksgiving though.
Well, sometimes we don't meet on Wednesdays because of the room not being available or holidays. But I still think that if the requirement is 5 days in advance, that it would end up being more, would a requirement that it be given to us more than a week ahead of time run afoul of that ordinance, I guess is what I'm asking.
But my question would be is if it's 5 business days and we're closed on a Friday, we would only have 4 business days. Did we meet that requirement of 5? Would we have to go back and say, we got to have it done on Tuesday? Just our office needs to be clear on, when we would have it ready to go.
The ordinance says 1 week.
So, okay, so I think 1 week, then
I think we're fine, Mr. Chairman. I just make sure this board understood the difference and considered it. And you've already voted to change your bylaws to say 5 business days. I think I may be splitting hairs, and it'll suffice the way it is.
But don't you need an extra day or two just to get ready to post it? I mean, you're going to receive it and post it the same day. That puts a lot of pressure on the code department. To me, if you talk to me, you need at least 1 extra day, if not 2. Just a thought.
They're nodding. Yes.
Yes. Obviously, you can see we sometimes rush to put it together. So the more time we have, the better. But obviously, we have ordinance we have to meet. So we'll make whatever happen. We decide here, we'll make it happen.
Mr. Law Director, is it your advice that we change the language we just changed to make it just say 1 week, just to have it track with the ordinance?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think that'd be the prudent course to take. Yes, sir.
Well, Lord knows I've had enough clients not listen to my advice and have it bite them in the rear end that I always try to listen to my counsel. Do we just need to make is this adequate notice for us to be able to make the bylaw change? Can we just make a motion to amend that language to 1 week?
Yes, it's on the agenda for today anyway, isn't it? Yeah. It's on the agenda. Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, just as a cutoff date, I didn't know if we need to have something submitted in legal form or something fancy like that. But then I'll make a motion that we amend the bylaw that we just ratified last month to require that we use the term 1 week for filing documents for this board to be able to consider before it.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any other discussion prior to proceeding to a vote? Not seeing anyone jumping up and down. I think it's time to proceed to a roll call vote.
Patricia Williams.
Aye.
Patricia Williams votes aye. Jamie Rowe.
Aye.
Jamie Rowe votes aye. James Corcoran.
Aye.
James Corcoran votes aye. Ashley Williams.
Aye.
Ashley Williams votes aye. Cecil Anderson. Cecil Anderson votes aye. Terry Kerr.
Aye.
Terry Kerr votes aye. David Harden.
Aye.
David Harden votes aye. Rebecca Longmire.
Aye.
Rebecca Longmire votes aye. Bob Dykes.
Aye.
Bob Dykes votes aye. All members present voting aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda, 6B, just as final order on appeals. Mr. Law Director,
Other than what I've already said, Mr. Chairman, one thing that's occurred to me as I've been sitting here keeping notes and the orders are going to have who made a motion and who seconded and who voted A and nay. One factor I forgot is I'm going to need to coordinate with the Knox County Clerk's office. They keep the official records, and Angie keeps track of things. So part of my process to get these orders correct, I'm going to have to coordinate with the county clerk's office to make sure I was correct. So that might add a couple of hours to the completion of these orders. Okay. But we took notes. I took notes, and I'm prepared to immediately start drafting these orders and sharing them. And I'll need an extra short period of time to confirm that I understood who did what, Mr. Chairman. That's my only addition about these orders.
As far as since this is our first time really going through this process, do you have any suggestions as far as have we included this week a sufficient level of detail? Do we need to go into any more specificity than we did today?
I think you were very, no, sir. I think the board considered the appropriate standards and determined whether to do a variance based upon those extraordinary circumstances that were laid out. No, sir, I think the board did exactly what was required to do today.
Okay. Any further discussion on this agenda item before moving on? Okay. Last item is 6C, in-person meetings, which I think we sort of covered at the beginning of the meeting. Mr. Law Director, I understand your preference, but I also understand the preference of the members of this board. And as I said, I want to make sure we have as good of attendance as we can. And, of course, I hope with the vaccine rolling out and all that, we'll be in a better position to make sure everyone can attend appropriately. But I think the general sense I have from my fellow board members is, really until, there's a marked change in the current state of the pandemic and maybe perhaps a higher percentage of vaccinations, we're probably going to continue as long as we can in the electronic format is at least the sense I've gotten, at least when we previously discussed this topic. I see Mr. Williams' hand is up.
I just had a question for Mr. Dykes, and is that have you received a copy of the code's handbook as well as your parking, which gets you into the building?
I have not yet.
Could I ask the law director to make sure that Mr. Dykes receives that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll check and see who's supposed to get that for him. We're not 100% sure who provides that.
Yes, sir.
Actually, while we're on that topic, I think my parking pass stopped working about 1.5 years ago, but it ended up not really mattering. I got stuck at the gate one time and never bothered to bring it up, but just because the whole world kind of came to a shutdown next month. Who do I talk to about getting a new one?
I'll check it.
We'll check and see who does that. I think the reason that I wanted to discuss the in-person meetings today is last month, the Planning Commission discussed returning to in-person meetings, and I think County Commission discussed the other day. So I thought we should at least have a discussion, maybe not for the month of March, but there's going to come a time we return to in-person. So I thought we should at least discuss, how we're going to do that and when we do that. So I wouldn't think it'd be any earlier than April before we could, but at least want to get it on the agenda to discuss it.
And I think it should be again on the agenda for next month, because obviously there's a whole lot that could change or not change between now and then. And I think obviously if the law director's office could keep me informed on the current state of the executive orders that are currently authorizing it, because obviously if the executive orders go away, we won't have any choice but to meet in person. If the law director can help me follow that, I'll do my best to follow it, but obviously I can only devote so much time as a volunteer to keeping track of that. But and certainly I'll do my best to make sure the board or that codes is in a position to apprise the board of all that as we go.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, this is Myers Morton again. This board's preference takes priority over. I'm just giving advice. Okay, this board decides to meet electronically. And if I may, one other thing, Mr. Chairman, I found in your bylaws a question came up earlier about an applicant who doesn't show up for a meeting, doesn't show up for this hearing. 6D says, if this is appropriate for me to read this, in any case where an applicant fails to appear at the time scheduled to hear an application or make an appropriate request for deferral, the board shall dismiss the application for lack of prosecution. The applicant shall be eligible to file a new application by paying the appropriate filing fee. I'm learning as we go, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I imagine that rule probably didn't contemplate the electronic format that we're in right now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't have to worry about today.
Having reviewed that rule, are we at least authorized, in your opinion, to proceed in the way we did?
At this point, yes, sir. Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Obviously, when we go back to in person, we might take a different approach when someone's not here, when there's a clear place they need to be, as opposed to a website to check in on. But okay. Any other matters before the board? I don't see anything else on the agenda. All right. Well, I want to congratulate Mr. Dykes on his first successful meeting.
Yay.
Or my condolences, as the case may be.
As the case may be. Thank you.
All righty. Ms. Kerr, your hand just popped up at the end.
No, I was just clapping.
Oh, that's clapping.
Clapping for Mr. Dykes.
So if the hand is up like this, it's up. If it's like this, it's clapping. All righty. Well, seeing no other business before the board, I believe we are adjourned. All right, y'all
Thank
take
you.
care. All right, bye-bye.
Have a great month.